People will get it. We'll get the picture.
Are you a videographer for today? No.
That or steel wheels. Yeah, it's absolutely worthless when you're out on. I never did. They didn't have those kind of wheels when I was growing up. But my kids, you know. Yeah. Yes. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I've seen those. I don't think I've ever ridden one.
Thank you so much for coming. Right after.
Yeah, we turned on 18th. I was like, okay. What was that?
Okay. So.
I'm Greg Schneider. Did you work at Peninsula I've gone out and seen there's like a bunch of skis out there. Yeah, yeah, that's it. This is, have you met Chris Keene? He's our Vice President for Research at WSU. Carl said he was going to be there. Oh, I remember this back when I was growing up. Yeah. Good.
What place is this?
Carl, I go back 20 years.
So just everyone and anyone can invite this, I guess.
Yeah, we got on the invite Oh, yeah, everywhere.
I guess I should have done that.
Let's get out of the way.
Good. I'm going to be here like 11:30. I have to meet I can't really go ahead for this site. I think you have to order it out. So whether they're done or not.
Oh, Bree, nice to meet you. I've heard your name for a long time. Nice to finally back track. Thanks for all your great help in this project.
Nebulous person.
That's right.
Yeah, but you're keeping everything organized and on task, so.
Everybody, you're a great home over there, I
Oh, is living down at your house?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a big space in the studio. Hello, sir. Maybe ask me to sit in the front row. And have you sit here.
God, I just saw you a while back.
I know. Okay, well, not after. I have now.
I'm coming over to collect it at the same time.
Sherry. Hey, Dan. How we doing?
We could pretend that we're making up something Okay, six. All in favor say aye, and we all stand up and say aye. Just something to get all right, whose idea? I guess we got one of the big committee meetings this afternoon. Mentioned that
I got dinged like the moment it seemed like about a half an hour.
That you were coming down. A little nervous. Yeah, just a little nervous. But
Well, I'm in Washington State University, and WSU is a partner of the center. So, a couple of our senior level team members are here. So,
My name is Jim Hallett, and I'm president of the Port of Port Angeles. And on behalf of my fellow commissioners John Calhoun and Colleen McAleer, I want to thank you for coming. I want to extend a particular welcome to our own Governor Jay Inslee, our Congressman Derek Kilmer, and our other guests who you will be hearing from here shortly. This is a great opportunity for us to showcase our community. I know that tomorrow the governor will be meeting with a group of leaders from a little island community west of here. And so traffic is supposed to be pretty bad on I-5. We did our part here this morning. The city said that this is actually part of their contribution to our center here, so on behalf of the city, I want to thank you for that. There's always uncertainty about the future, but there are really only two possibilities when it comes to economic progress. We can do business as usual and accept the same results as usual and watch the world around us as it passes us by. Or we can evolve and transform and create new opportunities for ourselves, enjoy new successes, and then we will move forward as the world watches us pass them by. One of my favorite quotes comes from Thomas Edison, and he says that good fortune is what happens when opportunity meets with planning. In 2012, I was invited along with another member of our staff to attend a delegation with former Governor Gregoire and other leaders from around the state of Washington which took us to Ireland and the United Kingdom, and eventually an opportunity to participate in the Farnborough Air Show. It was at that time that we got to thinking, how can we, here in Port Angeles, most people didn't even know where we were, let alone existed, right? Explain to them that Port Angeles isn't where Disneyland is located, that's the other Angeles. But as a result of that, the contacts we made and the things we learned and what we observed got us to think about how can we compete thinking ahead. Much like Wayne Gretzky says, the reason he scored so many goals isn't he wasn't standing where the puck was, he was moving to where the puck was headed. And so we came back with a seed of an idea, born from those connections and the people we met. And from that, we got to thinking about how can we do something in the area of composites, because we believe, and believed then and believe now, that that's where we have an opportunity to contribute to both regional, local, and worldwide commerce. From that was born this idea of we continue to refine our plan. We made attempts at grants, and a couple of times we came very close, but each time our plan became sharper and more in focus until we arrived at the idea of a Composite Recycling Technology Center. And thanks to unprecedented cooperation, both at the federal level and the state level, as well as with our friends at the City of Port Angeles and Clallam County and Peninsula College, we are here today to celebrate a watershed event in our community. The future is uncertain, like I said, but one thing is for sure. When good planning meets with opportunity, good fortune will follow. And from that, those of us who are in positions of leadership and those of us who are in positions to participate, can deliver the type of good news and economic progress that the people we're privileged to serve expect, demand, and will now deliver. With that, it's my pleasure to introduce the Governor of the State of Washington. Governor Inslee is a fifth-generation Washingtonian. He's the son of a school teacher and a sales clerk. His resume is long, and I'm simply going to highlight the fact that he started public service in 1985 at a local level, became engaged, has a passion for education. From there, he became elected to Congress in 1992. Then he and his wife, Trudy, a few years later, moved to the Puget Sound area, where he was again asked by the citizens of the state to serve in Congress. And then he has transitioned now to lead the state of Washington. I've enjoyed learning from Governor Inslee, and our state is very fortunate to have a visionary leader who sees the future in clean energy and clean technology, of which our Composite Recycling Technology Center is a part of. With that, please join me in welcoming Governor Jay Inslee.
Thanks, Jim. It is such a delight to be here. I can very clearly say there's a lot of beautiful, exciting places in the state of Washington, but the coolest place to be in the whole state of Washington today is in Port Angeles at the Composite Recycling Technology Center. This is a great event. I know Port Angeles has a lot of good things going for it. I know it's known as the center of it all, but this is going to be a center of composite technology worldwide, and it's happening right here today. Congratulations to this community. Great news. The Composite Recycling Technology Center is a first, not just for Port Angeles, not just for the Olympic Peninsula, and not just for the state of Washington, but for the entire planet. The folks who have put together this concept, this dynamic recycling operation, are thinking 2 steps ahead, not just 1 step ahead. They are thinking 2 steps ahead. Because we know that composites are going to grow like topsy in the world economy. That's the first step. And we're realizing that today in the state of Washington, like in Moses Lake, where the SGL company is making the heart of the composites for the BMW i3 all-electric car. I saw a BMW advertisement for the all-electric car the other day, and I'm thinking, that's a Moses Lake technology that's happening there, because we're making the composites in Moses Lake, Washington, hundreds of people doing that work for BMW. That's the first step. But the second step is in recycling. And the Port Angeles community has made a leap forward on the second step, saying, okay, if we're going to build all these planes and cars and goodness knows what's out of composites, how are we going to recycle the product? And that is why it is so exciting for me to stand before you to celebrate this success in Port Angeles. And I saw this, if you look in your program here, it has a picture of recycling the primary product to a secondary product of a bicycle frame. Now, I ride a bike with a carbon bike frame, and I think it's always pretty cool to think carbon belongs in our bike frames, not in the atmosphere. And that's in fact what you're doing here in Port Angeles. So I think this is yet another step forward in what we do so well in the state of Washington. Our bread and butter is innovation, and we are always celebrating groundbreaking new technologies. We've had it in the most efficient wind farms. Most efficient wind farm in the world today is in the Palouse, generating electricity, clean electricity from the wind. To the world's first ultra-low emission, large-scale industrial methanol plant in Kilmer, which is going to produce methanol with 75% less carbon dioxide going into the atmosphere, greenhouse gases. To the world's largest carbon manufacturing facility at SGL in Moses Lake that I mentioned. And now we have the world's first of its kind Composite Recycling Center here in Port Angeles. Now there are three things that are going to come out of this great dynamic step forward. First, some of the 2 million pounds of carbon fiber composite material that ends up in our landfills every year are going to have a chance instead to be diverted to useful products because of the work going on here in Port Angeles. Second, this diverted waste stream will be recycled into high-profile, high-impact applications that will become new products and help the growth of manufacturing job creation right here in the state of Washington. And third, and I want to celebrate this particularly, working families and small businesses will get a boost to the creation of 340 direct and indirect jobs over the next several years. Now this is important because no communities like Port Angeles that aren't in the shadow of the Space Needle were particularly hard hit during the recession. So isn't it great that today we are celebrating supporting advanced manufacturing jobs right here in Port Angeles? I think that's a great step forward, something we ought to celebrate. So I want to express my deepest appreciation for the leadership here in Port Angeles. There have been many folks involved in this project, from schools to mayors to economic development entities. Port Angeles, the city of Port Angeles, Clallam County, Peninsula College, Washington State University, together with representatives of our state Department of Commerce, have been ready to fight for this for some period of time. They noticed this kind of recycling wasn't happening anywhere else in the world. So we've tried through a grant through the National Network for Manufacturing Innovation. It didn't quite pan out. But thankfully, we had resilient leadership that wouldn't take no for an answer. They refused to give up. They kept at it, so we developed the concept more fully and ended up winning a $2 million grant from the United States Department of Commerce. And that's not all. They also got $1 million in matching funds from the Clean Energy Fund from the state fund. I gotta tell you, I'm glad I fought for the Clean Energy Fund. I'm glad it's ended up right here in Port Angeles. So we're happy that the legislature funded it. We know that projects like this are exactly what I envisioned when we created the Clean Energy Fund, and I couldn't be more pleased to be here today breaking ground on the world's first Composite Recycling Technology Center. So when I meet with President Xi tomorrow, I want to make sure that he knows about Port Angeles, that Port Angeles was leading the world in clean manufacturing jobs, and we're going to be happy to share that view. So let's celebrate, let's dig some dirt, let's recycle some composites. Congratulations, Port Angeles.
Once in a while, somebody local from Port Angeles gets it big. And actually, I think our community hit it big by having one of our own homegrown products, Congressman Derek Kilmer. Derek's the son of 2 school teachers, who I was privileged to know your parents, and something else about you, we'll discuss that later. Congressman Kilmer's been passionate for our community, and one of the great things about having an elected official at the federal level from here is he knows who we are, where we've come from, where we are, and where we need to go. And with his help, we're going to continue to make forward progress. And with that, please join me in welcoming Congressman Derek Kilmer.
Thanks, everybody. It's great to be here. It's always good to be back in my hometown. The board asked me to provide a few words of inspiration. And I know these days when you think inspiration, you think Congress. In all honesty, it's great to be here with the governor and my friends from the port and WSU and Peninsula College and PNNL and local industry and all of you who have made this day possible. This is a big deal, not just for Port Angeles, but for the entire region. In fact, we're joined by my former colleagues who worked with me at the Economic Development Board in Pierce County, because this is a big deal for the entire region. It's a big step in the realization of a vision that's been shared by a whole bunch of folks in this community and throughout our region. And having a shared vision is important, but it's not enough to just have a vision. I was actually thinking about last week, I was sitting in my office thinking about what to talk about at this event. And I looked at, on my wall in my office, I have a bunch of kind of weird stuff, but one of them is a ballot from the first free election in post-apartheid South Africa. And on the ballot is Nelson Mandela. And Mandela was famous for having said that vision without action is just a dream. And action without vision just passes time. But vision with action can change the world. And I don't know that we've changed the world quite yet, but I think this is an example as we put on hard hats and pick up those shovels, where that shared vision and action actually come together to do something really significant for this community and for this region. You know, the vision today represents an opportunity to grow industry here in Port Angeles and throughout our region. And listen, we know, as was said, we know that composite technology and composite materials are where things are heading, whether it be bicycles or airplanes or skateboards or golf clubs or whatever. And so the focus around this industry is going to create jobs of the future. And as a guy who used to work in economic development, I can tell you that having a strategy that's focused around where industry is headed is a really big deal. This passes, as the commissioner said, this passes the Wayne Gretzky test. That's not just good hockey strategy, that's good economic development strategy as well. The vision also includes growing an industry that's responsible and that's going to help us protect our planet. This facility will keep composites out of landfills and put them back into productive use, and that's a big deal too. The other thing that I'm excited about is the educational component of this. With Peninsula College and WSU here today, we are building on a successful composites training program that's going to help young people get prepared for jobs of today and of tomorrow as well. Not just at this building, but in businesses all over this region. Now, listen, I talk to folks here in PA a lot, and most of you know, I was born here. I went to Stevens Middle School and Hamilton Elementary School, and probably the thing that I hear most, the thing that probably keeps most of us up at night more than anything else, is that we want to make sure that there are jobs available for young people today and down the road. None of us want to see this community's largest export be its kids. And I think this is a huge step in making sure that young talent here on the peninsula have a vision of something that they can do so that they can stay here and work here and provide for their families here. And this is a vision that I think we can all believe in. But without action attached to that vision, that would just be a dream. And so I want to actually take one final minute and talk about those who took action. The port of Port Angeles and Clallam County, and I see some of our commissioners here. They deserve kudos for their coordination and significant investment in this project as well. And I know it's been long and often difficult, but you've all stepped up to the plate with your professional staff and local dollars to make this happen. I want to share gratitude to Governor Inslee and the legislators from this area for putting money from the state's Clean Energy Fund, because that's huge. In a tough budget year, to be able to secure $1 million for this investment is something that we owe them a debt of gratitude for. I was proud to join with Senator Cantwell, and her staff is here in fighting hard for $2 million of federal funding through the Economic Development Administration. These are federal dollars that you all as taxpayers of our nation have paid, and the fact that they're going here to this project to grow our economy is a big deal. So I thank you all as taxpayers for being investors in this enterprise. And I got to tell you, in recent years, a $2 million investment from the EDA is one of the largest investments I've heard of the EDA making in this region, and it's a testament to the opportunity that people see in this project. So that's some pretty significant action, local and state and federal and industry and academia, and it's pretty awesome when you see people actually come together to work together. You know, I've said before, you know, I always believe the boat moves best when all oars are in the water rowing in the same direction, rather than having the oars out of the water beating each other over the heads, which you often see in our nation's capital. But on this project, everybody has had their oars in the water, and I know we've got more to do. But this is a day of celebration. I just want to say thank you to all the partners who've worked so hard on this. Congratulations to the community, and let's keep at it. All right, thank you.
To be cynical about government, whether it's local, state, federal level. But it's folks like Congressman Kilmer, Governor Inslee, and now we're going to hear from a representative from Maria Cantwell's office, Rosa McLeod. Senator Cantwell wanted to be here but could not make it. I had an opportunity to meet with her 2 years ago when I was back in Washington, D.C., and she said, "How can I help?" Now, the cynic in me would have said, "Yeah, right, that's what you say to everybody." The fact of the matter is, I took her up on her opportunity, and she came through. And so with that, I'd like you to join me in welcoming Rosa McLeod on behalf of Senator Maria Cantwell.
Good morning. Senator Cantwell wishes she could be here today, but got pulled back to the Capitol, so I'll be reading a statement on her behalf, but please do know she's been following this project very closely and will be thinking of us today. Dear friends, congratulations as we celebrate the groundbreaking for the Port Angeles Composite Recycling Technology Center. This is a first-of-its-kind recycling center that will allow us to take the 2 million pounds of carbon fiber composite material that is sent to landfills in Washington every year and turn that waste into valuable carbon fiber material. This project will benefit Port Angeles and our entire state by helping to save energy and transform waste from our aerospace and high-tech manufacturers into usable materials that will create economic benefits throughout the Pacific Northwest. I was proud to support the Port of Port Angeles' grant request to the U.S. Department of Commerce. By leveraging state funding through the Clean Energy Fund, as well as local contributions, the federal grant will allow us to take the Composite Recycling Technology Center off the drawing board and put it into practice. This grant also builds on legislation I introduced earlier this year, titled the Carbon Fiber Recycling Act of 2015. My bill would study technology and energy savings of recycling carbon fiber and directs the Department of Energy to partner with the private sector to develop a recycled carbon fiber demonstration project. The groundbreaking we are celebrating today will provide a real-world example of this technology and its unique application to reduce waste, increase efficiency, and expand our region's technical expertise in manufacturing composite materials. Thank you to everyone who made today's event possible. This is a new opportunity for students to learn, the community to grow jobs, and our state's economy to flourish, as we add more tools for the aerospace suppliers and others to build their businesses. I would like to specifically thank the Port of Port Angeles, the U.S. Department of Commerce, the Washington State Department of Commerce, Governor Inslee, Representative Kilmer, Peninsula College, Clallam County, and the City of Port Angeles for your tireless devotion to getting this project into its current stage. This is a clear win for us all. Please accept my best wishes as you celebrate this momentous occasion and the rich opportunities it provides us into the future. Senator Maria Cantwell. Thank you.